right, cool. So this is the 2021 draft QB rankings from Chris Sims. Chris Sims is the son of Phil Sims, former New York Giants quarterback, and he's the older brother of Matt Sims, who had 2 stints with the Atlanta Falcons. No need to know that, but I'm telling you anyway. So this is his new draft rankings. The first thing that jumps out at us is the fact that in almost everyone's mock draft, Trevor Lawrence goes number 1. Not number 1 QB, number 1 overall, right?
Overall, yeah.
But Chris Sims seems to believe that actually Zach Wilson is number 1. Zach Wilson is a quarterback that's been going up on everyone's draft rankings. I think at one point he was maybe like the 4th ranked QB, and then almost consistently he would be ranked ahead of Fields. Now this guy is ranking him number 1. What do you think about that?
Look, I don't know enough about these QBs, but from what I've heard, Justin Fields being number 5 is crazy.
Yeah.
I've heard good things about Mac Jones.
Yeah.
I've heard good things about Zach Wilson, but I have not heard anybody say that Trevor Wilson is not
Trevor Lawrence
is below Zach Wilson
in
regards to prospect. They're saying Trevor Lawrence is a once in a generation type of talent.
Yeah. I've not heard anyone.
Zach Wilson.
I've not heard anyone saying Trevor Lawrence is anything less than number 1 pick.
Yeah.
So I saw this. I was like, what? But a friend of mine, I sent it to a friend of mine, and he made a comment which is pretty true, which is that some people just post their draft rankings to be relevant, or something like that. like had he put Trevor Lawrence first, no one would have batted an eye.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Chris Sims has had some bad takes before, in my opinion.
Yeah. I wouldn't I wouldn't disagree with that. But okay, so the Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence side of it, Kellen Mond. What the heck? Why is Kellen Mond number 4
above Justin Fields?
Like, I know he had a good senior. It's Senior Bowl, right? Not Pro Bowl.
Yeah,
Pro Bowl is for the NFL. He had a good Senior Bowl. I think he got the MVP of the Senior Bowl, which is all well and good. But also, not everyone participated in the Senior Bowl. I don't know. I haven't seen Texas A&M do anything particularly groundbreaking. This seems like an out of left field pick to me. But you have him above Justin Fields. Like,
and I feel like this guy's implying that that Justin Fields could possibly fall into the 2nd round, like based off of this. You know what I'm saying? Because
that would be ridiculous if that
won't
happens. Yeah, there's no way it happens. That would be ridiculous. I've been hearing a lot of good things about Trey Lance from North Dakota State. So the fact that he's also below Kellen Mond, I don't know. Mac Jones. I actually hadn't thought too much of Mac Jones. I was thinking he's more of a 2nd round quarterback, even though, yes, he did win the national championship with Alabama this year. But I felt like Alabama, as always, they were more of a complete team. It was defense, it was the running game. That Najee Harris, the running back from Alabama, I think he might be a 1st rounder. But I thought they were like a more well-rounded team, and that's why Mac Jones won. Not taking anything away from his throws and all that stuff, but I don't look at him and think, oh, this guy is, game buster. I think more of like an Eli Manning.
He's actually has fallen to the 2nd round on some mock drafts that I've seen for the Falcons in the 2nd round. Right? If I
wouldn't mind taking him in the 2nd round. I wouldn't mind.
Yeah. No. I've seen him get, or if not, they trade up to with the 31st or 30th pick or something like that to come and get him. That I can understand. But Justin Fields has consistently been the top 3 of the quarterbacks being taken.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence, like you said, has always been number 1 going to Is it Jacksonville? Yeah.
Jacksonville, correct.
Yeah, yes. Going to Jacksonville, like there's basically no question there, unless somebody decides to throw the entire farm at them and go for it. But Trevor Lawrence has been going to Jacksonville consistently. And then after that, it's been a little bit of, there's been, so what, Miami has the 3rd. So usually Miami's not getting a QB. It's usually, unfortunately, my pick, which is Sewell, for the fact that he's going 3. And then usually it's probably, it's Zach Wilson usually being taken 2nd that I see.
Yeah, it's
never first.
It's been either Wilson or Fields, but more recently, yeah, it's been Wilson going second.
Because I think I think Zach Wilson had a great what's it called? Scouting
season. Oh,
senior,
okay.
yeah, scouting something or whatever.
Yeah. Combine. Yeah.
Did they do the combine?
I think they did. I thought they did. Hey, I could be wrong. Okay. Things have been different in COVID. With this list, right? I know we've been talking a lot about, do we really want to draft a QB so high? Do we want to?
No, it's not that do we, it's do I, because you said already you do.
I mean, it depends on which QB it is, right?
Okay.
Like I feel like I think if we can get Fields, I would take Fields. And I think I've changed on that like several times. But if we can get Fields, I'll take Fields.
This is the reason I say we shouldn't take Fields. And I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna be a little bit real, I think, on this end. Matt Ryan already has to deal with a bunch of toxic fans, right? But that's because the thing is though, there have been some people moronic enough to think that we should put in Schaub versus Ryan, right? Which is just that's a dumb thing.
That's ridiculous, yeah.
But if Justin Fields goes in there, there is going to be no him sitting behind Matt Ryan. It's going to be all of a sudden there's a quarterback controversy.
I don't know, man.
Pundits and fans are going to be pushing that forward. He is not going to be able to sit, and it's going to become a toxic coach, a toxic environment. But for Matt Ryan,
okay,
and
so
Matt Ryan would want out, and I honestly do not see us getting Arthur Smith to waste such a high draft pick on a prospect, on
someone that will sit and not actually play. Yeah,
and like you said a few episodes ago, top 5. That's a day one. What's it called?
That's a pick. Starter. Yeah,
that's a starter off the bat.
So I agree with you. That top 5 is a starter. As far as like creating a toxic culture in Atlanta because quarterback controversy, it's going to be toxic regardless. We have one of the worst fan bases in the country. I truly believe that. So it's going to be toxic regardless. I actually wanted to pose the question to you, and I talked about it in the pre-show a little bit. Do you think that it would make sense to draft someone in the first round to sort of be to Matt Ryan what Taysom Hill was to Drew Brees, right?
A gadget.
Yeah, gadget QB, maybe a change of pace QB. We usually think of change of pace running backs, but like a QB that can, because one thing that Matt Ryan really lacks is the ability to extend plays because of like mobility, right?
Yeah.
So maybe bringing a QB that is trained up for those sort of scenarios or something like that. And we've seen it doesn't work as well in the NFL where, you're trying to, when they had Mark Sanchez and Tim Tebow over in, I think it was Philadelphia, and was it the Jets? No, it was Philadelphia, right?
Yes.
It was the Jets. Okay, yeah. Where they bring him in for one series and then bring the other one in for one series and it just didn't work out. I wouldn't want something like that, but the way Hill and Brees work together, that's something that seemed like it worked really well. I think that's one way to have your...
Yeah, but the problem with that is that Taysom Hill he's a gadget, but he was also working as a tight end, right? They had him doing, and he was on special teams. So he's doing like more than just that. And then it would just become one of those things where like, all of a sudden people are like, well, you see, this is the reason why we should just go ahead and get rid of Matt Ryan because Justin Fields is doing a good job,
Right. But I mean, if Fields comes in and does a good job, does a better job than Matt Ryan, why not get rid of Matt Ryan, right? Wouldn't you want the person that's doing a better job, right? So I don't know.
Yeah, I get what you're saying there, but the thing is, look back at the last QB since Matt Ryan was drafted in the first round. He's the only one still on his team. Okay. That shows you his consistency and his durability. You should not do everything you can in your power. You should. That's something like that is something that you try to hold on to and work around that, because we're also losing. We also have so many holes on this team.
Yeah.
This team is slightly rebuilding.
So you know me, right? I'm not a Matt Ryan hater
No,
by
I don't
any
know
stretch.
you. How are you? Who are you?
I'm not a Matt Ryan hater by any stretch. With that being said,
you hate him?
I hate him. No, I'm not Matt Ryan hater by any stretch, but having longevity and not being injured and all that stuff. You're saying he's the only quarterback that's still on his team. That could also just be a function of the Falcons not really being what's the word? Not inventive enough. Not wanting it enough. There's a terminology I was looking for, but I lost it. But basically, like they don't have that drive to go for something greater than what they currently have. Now, in that period, Matt Ryan was NFL MVP. We're not going to take that away from him. But what's the harm in having someone who can fill in the way Taysom Hill did? And then remember when Drew Brees got injured for those 3 games, and then we all thought, okay, Jameis Winston is going to be the QB. Taysom Hill is going to continue doing that same.
I was like, oh, we're going to whoop their ass.
Yeah. And then instead, no, Taysom Hill actually filled in as like a normal QB.
Yeah, he did.
And they won, right? So this, I'm not saying that Matt Ryan's going to get injured this season, but at least you're giving your backup chances to get plays in such a way that he's not feeling like he's sitting behind like Jordan Love in Green Bay the entire season, but he feels like he's contributing. And then when Matt Ryan does in fact need a replacement, he's able to step in with no issues.
Hey, you know what? I think one of the things that becomes, because actually you mentioning Love is actually a great example, is I don't get the sense that Arthur Smith is having a bit of an identity crisis or identity struggle with who's running the team with Aaron, because you can kind of see that whole Aaron Rodgers and LaFleur. There seems to be a little bit of a struggle. There was a struggle there, right? And so Aaron Rodgers said, no, I'm still the QB. I'm still the, you're not about to come here and replace me with this guy. I don't sense that Arthur Smith will have that, because Arthur Smith has kind of indicated he's like, there's a few people that he's been impressed with, and Matt Ryan is one of them. Julio Jones Government. I honestly feel like one of the reasons we chose Arthur Smith is because Arthur Smith also pointed out that I have more than enough here that I can do something with this offense.
I see.
I just might need a running back, and that's it, versus I need to fix up this defense. And that's why you bring in a Pease, because that guy is not getting out of retirement for a rebuild. He's coming in to try to win.
So a question for you then. Based off of everything you're saying, I think I know the answer. But do you think then it's more likely that the Falcons would trade down for a lower pick?
I think it's more likely that they trade down than they get a quarterback. But I wouldn't be shocked if they stay there and get the best player available on defense, or if Sewell's still there and they get Sewell.
Get the best player.
Okay. Either way, since this is not a hot, but there might be a quarterback needy team. Apparently there's a lot of quarterback needy teams out there that might move up to try to get a quarterback.
But you're saying that they could stay at 4 and either get Sewell or get the best defensive player available. So this is a scenario in which Fields might still be there. Because if they're 4 and Sewell is gone, that means either Lawrence and Wilson have gone, or Lawrence and Fields have gone, or freaking Lawrence and Kellen Mond have gone, which means Fields might still be on the docket, right?
Right.
So you think that if they have number 4 pick and Sewell is gone,
it depends on who comes at them. I honestly feel like the thing they would do is, does the San Francisco who holds number 9, who are wanting to move beyond Jimmy Garoppolo, does Shanahan say, hey, we'll trade all this stuff for you, and let you go? What if they trade Jimmy Garoppolo to the Falcons? Right?
I'll take it.
I'll take it, because guess what? Nobody's going to be fighting for Jimmy Garoppolo to take over for Matt Ryan. Yeah. At least not somebody who likes football, who pays attention to football. They'll be like, all right, he can stay behind.
Yeah, but if something were to happen to Matt Ryan, I think Garoppolo is a serviceable backup.
Serviceable.
Yeah. So I'll be good with that. So, okay, but you just to make sure I'm clear on this. Do you believe
I don't think they're going to draft Fields if that's what you're saying. If that's
no. I'm asking that could they keep number 4 and draft a defensive player at number 4?
They could, but then because I kind of get what you kind of I feel like some wheels are turning in your head. Is like, isn't that worth giving that away and getting somebody lower, because this isn't really a defense heavy team, right?
Exactly. I feel like
what's his name? Number 2 overall last year, Washington.
I can't remember his name, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
I can see his face in my head.
Yeah, and I'm sure you'll put a photo when you when you do this in post production. But there's nobody there that's like that generational kind of, or the game changing kind of defense. So
right. Like even if you were to swap with like San Fran, who's I think number 9, like you said, I think you could still get whichever defensive player you're thinking of that's supposed to be like the best defensive player.
Yeah,
you could probably still get them at number 9.
You know what a lot of mock drafts have been doing, like fan mock drafts, is trading down to number 9, getting some number 1s in the future, and then trading down with like number 12 or number 13. That number 9 is what like doing 2 and getting like a bunch of 1s and a
so
few.
You give your 9 to the 12, and you get first rounders from them as well, right?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Like, I actually would be okay with that.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Anyway. Okay. All right. Cool. So,
anyways, this list is trash.
Yes, that's the wrap up from that. Okay.